Black Hills Conference titles, and even a runner-up finish in the state. He then moved on to Stevens, where he coached football and track. In his 16 years as football coach, he led the Raiders to the quarterfinals 11 times, semifinals 6 times, the state championship game twice, and in 1987, the Raiders were the state champions. Hall of Fame coach, Mick.
Well, I knew I was going to be last. Everything's been said, so thank you. I want to just take this opportunity to thank Sherry and the rest of the nominating committee or selection committee for choosing me to join this Hall of Fame. I am really, truly honored and humbled by it. You know, after Sherry called, I took some time to think back about my time here at Stevens High School, and it was truly one of the best times of my life. It was a special time to be a Raider. It was a special time to be at Rapid City Stevens High School. We were blessed with great athletes. It's pretty obvious if you take a look at the group of athletes that have been awarded or nominated and inducted into this Hall of Fame today. Not only were they successful at the local and high school state level, but went on to achieve great awards and a name for themselves at the collegiate and the national level. It was just unbelievable. They were all great athletes, they were good students, and more than anything else, they were good people. That time at Stevens High School, I think back, every sport was blessed to have coaches that were so knowledgeable and so caring and so able to give up their time for their sport and other sports. One thing I always thought was really amazing at that time, how a lot of the head coaches in sports were also assistant coaches in other sports. And I thought that was really so important. We all had that same belief in what had to be done. One of the things that we really believed in was that multiple participation or participation in multiple sports was really, really important. If I think back, I look at our 1987 in our state football championship team, that we had 64 juniors and seniors on the team. 51 of those 64 players were multiple sport athletes. All the coaches, Ron and Lyle and myself and others, all believed in that, and I think it was amazing that they took time yet and realized the importance of helping out in other sports. We believe that that was a key. The faculty was so supportive, and I think that's so important. I mean, they were working closely with the coaches all the time to make sure the kids were going in the right direction. And that was always so important. The administration, 2 guys that come to mind when we talk about administration at that time were the principal, Ken Burnham, and the athletic director, Dwayne Whalen. Those guys were truly amazing. You know, they gave us support, and they gave us direction, backing, always had our backs and so on. But they let us develop our programs and explore the avenues and so on that we thought we needed to do in order to be successful. And that was so important to have that backing. Another thing that I thought was really cool as I thought back about that time here at Stevens was that there were the supportive groups, the other smaller things that were going on in the school were always looked at as an equal. Talking about the marching band and the pep band, and like we didn't have the drum line at that time, but I love a good drum line. But anyway, the student managers and the cheerleaders and the blues and the statisticians and everybody that were part of the different sports programs they were never looked down upon because they weren't the athletes, but it was an equal standing amongst all. And I thought that was so unique, and I thought that helped in being so successful and a part of being that fun time of being a Raider. It was magical. It was I remember my son saying, I hope I get a job when I get out into the working world where it doesn't look like work and you enjoy it as much, or I enjoy it as much as you do, Dad. And I thought that was probably one of the most important things that he ever said to me. It was a fun time. We didn't have to sell Raider Pride. It was just there. Like the other coaches that have been inducted, I would be totally remiss if I didn't mention those people that were directly responsible for the success of the football program at that time, and that's those assistants. Football is a little bit different in the fact that there's so many different types of unique facets of the game that one or two individuals can't coach adequately in a football program. And I was extremely blessed to have some of the greatest gentlemen help me in my football program. I was going to listen to, like Lyle said, but then again, I was afraid that I might forget some. But there's a couple of guys that showed up today that I really have to. Ron Station and John Aldridge, Paul Ferdinand, Lyle Helft, and so on. There were a lot of coaches that came and went with me through the years. Lemoyne Trout and TJ Hay, Joel Hyverson, Les Odegaard, Tony Smith, Doc Michael, who was our equipment manager and so on, Rick Hurd, Eldon McNabb. There were just tons of them. And like I said, I was very, very fortunate in having those people. They loved football, they were great teachers, and they were energetic. They bought into what we were trying to do in our program, and it made it so much easier to sell. Sort of a quick shout out to some other people that have been very influential in my career and a big part of it. My daughter Michelle was always, she's a teacher here in Rapid City Stevens, and she's always been my #1 supporter. Donna, my girlfriend of 34 years. You know, Donna gave me a whole different view of sports and its rightful place in life. I used to think it was the one and only thing, but she taught me it was a little bit different. She also boasts about being probably the most intelligent woman in Rapid City when it comes to football. But she's been around it a long time, and I appreciate everything that she's done. My son Mike and his family that live in Colorado, they weren't able to be with us today, but he has 2 teenagers, and we all know what that's like. But those 3 years when Mike went to school here and played football and basketball and track, they were truly, without a doubt, my most enjoyable time of my life. You know, there's a popular saying that came from that other school over here in the city, and that was, once a cobbler, always a cobbler. And I love that. It was great or whatever. But cut me anytime, anywhere, and I'm going to bleed Raider blue. Thank you very much.